Hey, everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with the Infinite Expansion Podcast. Today we're going to be exploring the work of Joseph Murphy and his teachings on the power of belief. We've got some pretty amazing stories to unpack here.
Oh, yeah. Murphy's work is really all about the potential we have to shape our reality through our thoughts and beliefs, even those beliefs we might not be fully aware of.
So we're talking about the power of the subconscious mind, but how does that actually work? I mean, what's the connection between what we believe and what happens in our lives?
Well, Murphy talks about these laws of mind. They're like principles that govern how our inner world interacts with our outer experience. He believed that understanding these laws can help us harness the power of our subconscious.
To create the life we desire.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But I think it would help to get into some specifics. Murphy uses some incredible stories to illustrate these concepts. And one that really stuck with me was the story of the dying son,
Oh, yeah.
where the father uses the image of Jesus to help his critically ill son. It's an incredible story.
It is. That's a powerful example of how belief can influence healing, even when that belief is rooted in a subjective image. The boy is in a dire state, barely conscious, when his father, driven by intuition, tells him that Jesus is present.
And then he's healing him.
Right. And almost immediately, the boy's condition starts to improve.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He starts asking for food, his kidney function returns to normal, and he's discharged from the hospital the very next day.
It's incredible. Murphy attributes this to something called hypnotic suggestion. Hypnotic suggestion.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty intense.
It might sound complex, but think of it this way. The boy, in his vulnerable state, latches onto this image of Jesus, this figure he deeply believes in.
Right.
And this belief, amplified in his semi-conscious state, acts as a powerful suggestion to his subconscious, which then triggers a healing response.
So his belief, even though it's based on an image, could have actually influenced his physical well-being. That's the idea. And this connects to broader examples we see in the world, like the placebo effect, where belief in a treatment, even if it's a sugar pill, can lead to real physiological changes.
Wow. It really shows you just how powerful that mind-body connection really is.
It really does.
It makes you wonder if belief itself could be a potent healing force.
Definitely something to think about.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears to another compelling story from Murphy's teachings. The story of Rudyard, the bank VP, who lost a significant amount of money gambling. And what I found fascinating about this story was how he turned that loss into abundance.
Oh, yeah. Rudyard, despite his financial setback, really clung to Murphy's principle that you cannot lose anything except you admit the loss.
So even when faced with what seemed like a definite loss, he chose not to accept it.
Exactly. He refused to identify with that loss, both mentally and spiritually. Instead, he focused on the return of his money.
Amplified and multiplied.
Yes, and he practiced this mental and spiritual identification with his desired outcome every single night.
That sounds a lot like what people are talking about these days with visualization and manifestation.
You hit the nail on the head. This story perfectly illustrates how our thoughts and beliefs can play a huge role in shaping our reality.
And what happened with Rudyard? Did his unwavering belief pay off?
Well, after a week of this intense focus, he had a really vivid dream about a horse winning a race with incredibly favorable odds. And he felt like this was a sign. He followed his intuition, placed a bet, and ended up recovering far more than he had lost.
Talk about a turnaround. It really makes you wonder how much power we actually have to shape our reality through our thoughts and beliefs.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And these stories from Murphy's work offer compelling evidence that our inner world can have a profound impact on our outer experiences.
Definitely food for thought. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's delve into one more story. This one focuses on overcoming physical limitations, the story of the injured ball player.
Oh, yes. This story is a fantastic example of how vivid imagination can lead to real-world results. The ball player was told he would be crippled for life, but he refused to accept that fate.
So instead, he immersed himself in this visualization of being back on the field, feeling everything as if it was already happening.
Yeah, he didn't just think about it, he felt it. He engaged all his senses, the feel of the ball, the movements of his body, the roar of the crowd.
Wow, a complete sensory experience.
It really was. And this reminds me of those visualization techniques athletes use today to enhance their performance.
Oh, absolutely. Many top athletes swear by visualization.
Yeah.
To mentally rehearse their performance, improve their skills, and boost their confidence.
Exactly. And this ball player was essentially reprogramming his subconscious mind, aligning his inner reality with his desired outcome.
And did this dedicated visualization lead to any real change?
Well, one night he had this dream where a wise figure told him that he would be back on the field the next day. And what's remarkable is that his recovery did accelerate, and he was able to return to the sport he loved.
It's as if by consistently focusing on his desired outcome, he actually shifted his physical reality.
That's precisely what Murphy suggests. When we align our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with what we want to experience, we tap into a powerful force that can shape our lives.
In extraordinary ways.
Yes.
These stories are incredibly inspiring. But I have to admit, a part of me is also skeptical. Is it really possible to change our lives simply by changing our beliefs?
I understand your skepticism.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy to approach these concepts with a discerning mind. Murphy isn't suggesting that simply wishing for something will make it magically appear. It's about aligning our thoughts, feelings, and actions with our desired outcomes.
So it's not just about the belief itself, but how that belief informs our actions.
Exactly. Belief acts as a guiding force. It shapes our perceptions, our choices, and ultimately our experiences. Think back to the ball player. His belief in his recovery wasn't passive. It fueled his commitment to visualization, which in turn could have influenced his healing process.
So belief can create a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy.
You could say that when we believe something to be true, we tend to act in ways that support that belief. This creates momentum, propelling us towards our goals.
Even when faced with obstacles.
Right. It's about aligning our inner and outer worlds.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Murphy emphasizes that the subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. By consistently feeding our subconscious with positive, empowering beliefs, we can shape its output, which in turn influences our reality.
So we're essentially programming our subconscious to work for us.
That's a great way to put it. It's like planting seeds in the fertile ground of our subconscious. The thoughts and beliefs we nurture will eventually bear fruit in our lives.
This brings up a crucial point. If our beliefs are so powerful, what happens when we're holding on to limiting beliefs? Beliefs that whisper we're not good enough, not worthy, or not capable.
That's a powerful question and one that Murphy addresses head on. He emphasizes the importance of identifying and transforming those limiting beliefs. He believed they act as roadblocks.
Preventing us from reaching our full potential.
Exactly.
So how do we overcome those sneaky, limiting beliefs?
Well, it all starts with awareness. We need to become conscious of those negative thoughts and beliefs that are holding us back. Once we've identified them, we can start challenging their validity.
Is it as simple as just telling ourselves those beliefs are false?
It's a little more involved than that. It's about replacing those limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Murphy suggested techniques like affirmations, visualization, and creative prayer as ways to reprogram the subconscious mind.
So it sounds like a process of consciously choosing the thoughts and beliefs we want to embrace.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of our inner landscape and cultivating a mindset that supports our growth and well-being.
This whole concept of belief is fascinating and empowering. It's amazing to think we might have more control over our lives than we realize.
Absolutely. It's a journey of self-discovery and transformation. And by understanding the power of our beliefs, we unlock tremendous potential to create a life that aligns with our deepest desires and aspirations.
But how do we even know what our deepest desires and aspirations truly are?
That's where introspection comes in. Taking the time to connect with our inner selves to understand our values, passions, and purpose. It can give us incredible insights into what we truly want to manifest in our lives.
So it's not just about chasing external goals, but about aligning those goals with our authentic selves.
Precisely. It's about finding that sweet spot where our desires harmonize with our values and our actions reflect our beliefs. That's where the magic truly happens. Murphy also talks about the role of intuition in this whole process. He mentions the story of Rudyard having that dream that led him to recover his lost money. How does intuition fit into this equation?
That's a great question.
Well, intuition is like this inner compass. It guides us toward our true path. Murphy believed our intuition is connected to a higher source of wisdom, providing us with insights and guidance.
That we may not consciously be aware of.
Right.
So it's about learning to trust that inner voice, those gut feelings that tell us what feels right.
Exactly. Our intuition often speaks in subtle ways, through dreams, hunches, or a sense of knowing. And by paying attention to these whispers, we gain valuable guidance and can make choices that align with our higher purpose.
This reminds me of those times when we have a strong feeling about something, but we brush it aside because it doesn't seem logical or practical. Maybe those are the times we should be paying the most attention.
That's a great point. Our intuition can sometimes lead us down unconventional paths, but those paths often hold the greatest potential for growth and fulfillment. It's about learning to discern between fear-based doubts and genuine intuitive nudges.
This brings us full circle back to the central theme of belief. If we believe we're capable of achieving great things, that we're guided and supported by something larger than ourselves, those beliefs can empower us to take risks, trust our intuition, and step outside of our comfort zones.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about shifting from a mindset of limitation to a mindset of possibility. When we believe in our potential and trust the process, we open ourselves up to a world of infinite expansion.
I love that phrase, infinite expansion. It perfectly captures the transformative power of embracing empowering beliefs. This entire conversation has been incredibly insightful. It's truly made me think about the beliefs I'm holding on to and how they might be shaping my reality.
That's the beauty of exploring these concepts. It invites us to look within and examine the beliefs that are driving our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to encourage our listeners to reflect on their own belief systems. What beliefs are you holding on to that might be limiting you? And what new beliefs could you embrace to create a more positive and fulfilling life?
It's an ongoing journey of self-discovery. By cultivating a mindset of awareness, curiosity, and a willingness to challenge our assumptions, we can unlock the transformative power of belief and create a life that truly reflects our highest aspirations.
Yeah, it's like we're the architects of our own lives, using our beliefs to build the blueprint.
That's a brilliant analogy. And just as an architect constantly revises and refines a blueprint, we can do the same with our beliefs. We can identify the structures that no longer serve us and replace them with beliefs that support our growth and evolution.
So it's an ongoing process, not a one-time fix.
Exactly. Life is dynamic, and our beliefs naturally evolve with our experiences. It's about staying open to new perspectives, questioning old assumptions, and being willing to let go of anything that no longer aligns with our highest good.
This makes me think about the story of the dying son again. What if the father had doubted his son's ability to heal? Do you think the outcome would have been the same?
It's impossible to say for certain, but the father's unwavering belief in his son's recovery certainly seemed to play a significant role. It highlights the power of cultivating a mindset of faith, even when faced with incredibly challenging circumstances.
So it's about trusting the power of belief, even when logic or reason might tell us otherwise.
Precisely. It's about surrendering to something larger than ourselves, whether we call it the subconscious mind, the universe, or a higher power.
This leads us to the topic of spirituality. Murphy often talks about the spiritual dimension of belief. How does that fit into his overall teachings?
Well, Murphy believed that we're all spiritual beings at our core, having a human experience. He saw spirituality as an integral part of our nature, not something separate or external.
So it's not about following a specific religion, but about tapping into a deeper connection with something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness with everything around us and accessing that source of wisdom and power that resides within each of us.
And how does prayer fit into all of this? Murphy talks about something called creative prayer as a way to align with our desires. What exactly does that mean?
Well, for Murphy, creative prayer wasn't about begging for things or trying to change God's mind. It was about aligning our thoughts and beliefs with what he called divine will, trusting that those prayers would be answered in ways that served our highest good.
So it's about surrendering our desires to something greater and trusting in the unfolding of things.
Precisely. It's about cultivating a mindset of gratitude and faith, knowing that we're always supported and guided, even when we don't understand the reasons why.
This has been an incredibly rich and insightful deep dive into the work of Joseph Murphy. His teachings offer a profound perspective on the power of belief and the potential we all possess to shape our lives through our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Absolutely. His work reminds us that we're not merely passive bystanders in life, but active creators of our reality. And by understanding and harnessing the power of belief, we can unlock a world of possibilities and create a life aligned with our deepest desires and aspirations.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive for today. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought from Joseph Murphy. If our beliefs truly have the power to shape our reality, what beliefs are you choosing to embrace today? What seeds are you planting in the fertile ground of your mind?
It's a question worth pondering. May your beliefs empower you, uplift you, and lead you towards a life filled with purpose, joy, and infinite expansion.